Hi guys, PJ here. Today, something a little bit different, sort of maybe branching out a bit, depends what you guys think. As you probably know, if you're on this channel, I've done a lot of car electronics videos, and at the moment I've pretty much saturated every make and model that there is out on the market in the UK. So, here we have a DS3, this is a 2013 model, and the front coil spring has snapped going over one of the brick speed ramps. So if you've ever seen them, guys, it's like basically made of bricks. It's not like a smooth hump like a concrete one. Absolute pain in the neck, totally snapped the spring. So we're going to replace the spring. I'm going to show you how to do it. Now these are pigtail springs, so as you can see, the bottom of it, the little pigtail's broken off. It has got some rust, embedded all the way through it, which is not rained since this snapped for this person and me repairing it. So it looks a bit metal fatiguey over the years. It is the original suspension. The car has never ever been in bits. In fact, the car is super low mileage, so it's been well looked after. It's just unfortunately combination of weather in the UK and a brick speed ramp. Anyway, first things first, you're going to pull the wheel off after you've jacked it up. A few tools you're going to need, as you can see there, a TX30 for the little upright there, the little bolt on it. And we're also going to need a 16mm socket, 21mm socket, and if memory serves me correctly, a 19mm socket. Plus the accompanying spanners would be handy. And also some sort of leverage or pry bar makes life easy. If you've got access to a trolley jack, that's great because you can use it to move the hub up and down slightly when you're lining things up or when you're undoing things. It just helps. Some of these bolts are easy to get at and some are a little bit tricky. One of the nuts in particular, I think is made of actual butter. It's that soft, so you've got to be very careful. I'll point that one out a little bit later on. But for now, the first thing is jack the car up, take the wheel off, undo the retaining bolt nut that basically clamps the bottom of the strut to the hub, which is the one I'm doing right now. So if you can imagine, there's a bolt goes all the way through. It's got the lock nut on the end there, 16mm lock nut. Take that off, withdraw the bolt from it. I normally screw the nut back onto the bolt, save it getting lost somewhere, put that safely out of the way. Generally spray a bit of something like WD-40 or something down where the strut goes into the collar, because it's sat in there some years, it could be a little bit corroded. And the best thing to do is get a large flat blade or maybe a chisel down the back of the hub, because where the bolt goes through, obviously it's got like a split in it. You can put it in and twist. Okay, next up we are removing the short drop link bar. Now this is under pressure from the front anti-roll bar, so the lower part of this pivots connects to the lower anti-roll bar, so it's got the pressure from that on it, okay, which means it's under strain. We're going to use a 16mm spanner and a TX30 to crack the nut, a locking nut, yeah. If it's a bit tricky, you can free it up with some WD-40 because rust, corrosion, etc. over the years could well have got a hold of it. This particular one, like I say, no problem. Came off nice, straightforward. It wasn't tricky in the slightest, which was good. But this is a very, very low mileage car. I think it's like 38,000 miles or something ridiculous. It's very low for its year. So, it wasn't really a problem of anything being corroded in our fantastic climate. But anyway, remove the whole thing until the nut comes off. Now the bar being under pressure means you're going to have to take the pressure off of it. So if you've got access to an axle stand and a trolley jack, what you can do is pop the axle stand underneath the strut area and lower the trolley jack a little tiny bit just to take the pressure off this so you can quickly release it. You're not putting the car's weight on it or anything like that. You're just putting enough just to move it up enough so you can pull that drop link bar out without it being sort of hard work, if you like, to get it out. You make your life very easy doing it that way. There is another way as well. Not forgetting to remove the brake hose out of its little recess, and also at the back where the ABS wire comes through, there's two grommets on that, so pull both of them out. Once you've dropped the hub down and got your strut out, now that will have included removing the top mount, which is buried under the wiper cowl. I was going to show you that bit, but unfortunately the camera battery died, so I haven't actually got that little bit of footage. I have got it sort of going back together again, but as you can imagine, it's basically lift the cowl up and unbolt the large bolt from the top, then drop the strut down. Anyway, you've got your strut on the floor. It's like a sandwich system. You're going to need your coil spring compressors that you can see there. It's always the nervy bit for anybody who's doing this DIY on the floor. It's you know, they're not my favourite tool. The old coil spring compressors aren't. I've seen them fail in the past, and yeah, these springs go off with a bit of a boom, you could say. Anyway, old spring out the way. The plastic cover that goes over the shocker just clips over the bottom, so it's just a case of sort of fumbling around and pulling it off. Replacement coil spring, this one was trade for me. It's £18, you know, only the one as such, there's only one snapped. It's a direct replacement, it's an Apex part, so no problem there, same length and everything. We rebuilt it again using the coil spring compressors. You've got to compress like all of the full coils, guys. You can't just do a couple, it will make it too long. You won't be able to get the end cap back on again. So crush the whole thing, put it down. Reassembly is reverse of removal. Just quickly going back to the strut itself, on your coil spring, when you're seating your new coil spring, remember I said the pigtailed, make sure the pigtail is sat up against the stopper at the bottom. And also, if your rubber coil cover has survived, I mean, they perish with age and they end up with a mess, you know, use that as well. This is the nut that I mentioned earlier that's made of butter. I don't know why it's so weak, but it is. It's basically the one that holds the top cap on the spring, and it's very easy to damage, so be very, very careful with it. So yeah, just be warned, it's not the strut top nut, it's the one that holds the compression of the spring down. So in other words, you've got your strut top, and then you've got the thing that holds it down. It's like a sandwich system, like I was saying. Just be careful with this nut. It's really, really feeble. I can't stress enough to you how soft the metal is on that nut. So even using the correct tools, I'm using a professional range of tools here, you know, it decided to, well, you saw the state of it. There we go. I had to file it up and make it look good again for putting it back on. When you're reassembling, just another quick tip. Remember I said there was another way of moving the anti-roll bar to take the pressure off the drop link? This is it. If you wedge a bar underneath it, going all the way through, look, you can simply push down on it with one hand, slot that through and put the nut back on. So it's nice and easy, because obviously it sits too high originally. So you just push down on it, slot it through the hole, pop the nut back on, tighten it up, job's a good one. And then you've got to put your wiper back on, because you've taken that off to get this plastic cowl up that it's sitting on top of. So you take your wiper off and pull the plastic cowl up. You can see the big nut there sitting underneath. If memory serves me correct, that was a 21mm nut. And obviously there's an Allen key in the middle to hold the strut if the strut starts to turn. Now, I would say this is a pretty straightforward job for the average DIY mechanic, as long as you've got the correct tools. Hopefully this was helpful in some way to you. A lot of cars are the same platform as this, so there we go. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye for now.